Hey guys, Steve with Black Fly here. Hope everybody's doing wonderful. Sorry it's been a while since I've shot a fly tying video. Life has just been busy, but thank you guys for tuning in. We are starting with the fire hole. 718 size 12 barbless for our thread. We've got the fire orange 8/0 uni. And I'm just gonna go ahead and put it down kind of not a real smooth. I want this to go down because I want this hot spot dangling in the water. So we've got a hot spot there in the back. Normally I can see the mountains. Pray for California, guys. We're going to add some peacock dub. We're going to use this rusty orange color. Okay, so I just grabbed a pretty good glop of this. I want a generous amount. We're just going to start wrapping this. Actually, I'm going to wrap back a little bit. Just going to start building this up. That felt good. Let's work our way back, advance our thread back to about that hook point. Just gonna tear that off. Black, I believe it's 4mm foam. Okay, so next, guys, I've taken and cut a little piece of this 4mm foam out, and I've cut it about the width of the hook gap. And then I'm just gonna take a lighter and try not to do this. I don't have much room in front of my camera here, but just kind of burn these hard edges off. Thank you, Cheech from Flyfish Food, for showing me that. Anyway, so this is going to be a micro hopper. About the same amount of foam hanging over the back as I do over the front. I'm going to pinch the thread. And I'm going to wrap back just a little bit to make myself a little gap to tie in the legs. So next we're just going to take a piece of this Spanflex. You can use Sexy Floss, Silly Legs, whatever you got. I already pre-tied a couple of legs, but I'll just show you real quick. So all you do is, what I do is I just line up the tips. Try to keep it as flat as possible. So you just do an overhand knot. So once I've got the knot made, then I'll kind of adjust everything. So that's how you make a hopper leg. You can glue these together, do whatever you want to make them look fancy. I will take this loop. Just works a little easier for me. You do what works easiest for you. Okay, about right there looks good to me. And so you can adjust these after you tie it in. I'm just doing one loose wrap, and then I'm just gonna pull. Okay. Tie in the other side now. Just a loose wrap. Try to keep those joints about the same length, and I'm happy with that. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to trim these. I like to leave a little bit just for the sake of durability. Okay, now that I've got both the legs tied in, I'm going to go ahead and do a couple wraps in front. Go ahead and cut the weight. We'll go with that one. Cut that little dude off. Cut the other side about the same length. That one is shooting back more, so I'm going to cut this one. Okay, so next I'm going to add a little bit of dubbing here. That kind of forces those legs back and hides our thread. So now what I'll do is I'll go in here and just trim up these appendages just a little bit. Okay, so now guys, I got another piece of foam cut about the same size. We're going to burn these hard edges. So now we're going to take some Zap Gap. I'm going to put a dab right on top of the dubbing. And we're going to take this piece of foam and place it right on top of it, but just a little so that sticks out just a little bit farther. Pinch that. Careful not to capture your legs. So next, we're going to take a piece of just poly yarn, rides high and dry. I'm going to clip off about an inch of it. So it's about like that. I'm going to take my wire brush. You guys won't be able to see this, but what I'm going to do is just lay it flat on my desk, and I'm just going to brush it out like that. Should be pretty flat. Just going to take my scissors. Place it on there. That's going to be our wing. Go ahead and take that and fold it back. So then I'm just going to trim some of this material out. Okay, so next we got some orange indicator foam. I'm going to take and place that little piece of indicator foam about right there. Give it a loose wrap, hold it, take them over, and then cinch it. That'll keep it from spinning. Keep it nice and center on the top. I'm going to take a little more dubbing. Secure here when we're all done. This is to cover up our thread wraps. Okay, so then next we're going to come under with one wrap, and we're going to add more dub. This is just to cover our thread. We're going to advance the thread forward. Okay, so back to the Zap Gap, and we're just going to put it right on top of this dubbing here. To work quick here, but that's just to help secure the foam. So we're going to go ahead and push that down, and we're going to do couple wraps. Okay, so next we're going to take some more Spanflex or rubber legs, sexy floss, whatever you want to use. Just going to kind of hold that there. We're going to leave the whole strand. We're going to loose wrap this side. Just one wrap. Fold that loop around like that to the other side, and we'll adjust this here in a second. Just do a couple loose wraps. Should look like that before you finish tying it in. Big long leg out of the way, and then I'll even them up later. Okay, so next guys, we are going to take some barred sexy floss. Okay, so we're going to take this sexy floss, gonna wrap around the thread up onto the top of the fly, and I'm just gonna time in. Just give that a couple wraps. We're going to take some more of our Zap Gap. These are just a personal preference of mine. Put a drop of Zap Gap. I'm going to hold these forward like that. I'm going to pinch that for a minute. Dries quick. Okay, so that just makes a couple of little antennas, and I'll just kind of trim those real quick, just get them out of the way. Let's go ahead and trim our front legs, pull down, get those kind of out of the way, and loose wrap, cinch up. Make myself just a little wider gap there. I'm gonna take some more of our rust colored peacock dubbing. Okay, so we just made another little dubbing rope, and we're just gonna wrap that once or twice. Get a nice little tug. Now we're going to take, and I'm going to lift everything up, and I'm going to advance the thread. Spin that a little bit more. Advance the thread forward. Stay out of my way, you silly legs. And give it a 5-turn. Whip finish. Cut our thread. Just trim the legs. Trim these bottom two. Just so they're the same length, whatever you guys like. Oh, I'm an idiot. I forgot to tie in the indicator. Well, I'll show you how to fix that. We're gonna tie this. Make sure I'm not capturing my legs. I'm gonna show you guys the mistakes, because although you see everybody tying perfect flies, we all make mistakes. So I'm just gonna loose wrap that. Make sure it stays on the top. Give it a good snug tug. Cut off our thread. Add a little more dubbing. Cover up our thread wraps. You know what's really strange is that every time I go to shoot a fly tying video, I could tie up several of these flies and they come out really nice and clean. When I go to shoot a video, something always goes whack. I'm gonna go ahead and give that just a couple turn whip finish. We're not securing anything but the foam. Trim this off, and then I like to trim this indicator. There's the booty of the fly, so I'm just going to trim it just a little bit in front of that, just to give it some nice uniform. Last, we're going to take a little 3mm eyes. This is just something fun of Zap Gap. Add just a little dab of glue right there. You only get one shot at this, so make sure you get it right the first time. Glue that eye on. Throw a little drop of loom into our, hit it with the UV light, and that is the finished fly, guys. So just fun to tie. Let's see what it looks like floating in the water now. Boom. Looks good. See, that's what the trout see. I'd say that looks pretty buggy. The micro hopper. Steve from Black Fly signing out. I'll see you guys on the next episode.